Hello, listeners. My name is Taylor, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Brianna and Sam. And you're listening to No Limits, a PlayStation podcast. And first, we'd like to give a special thanks to our patrons, Bucky Blue, Hopple, and our very own Alpaca Tom. Please go to patreon.com/savethegamemedia to learn more and become a patron yourself and check it out. You can also look at our YouTube at Save the Game Media and our Twitter at Save Game Media, not Save the Game Media because Twitter said that's too long because Twitter hates me. So it's just Save Game Media on Twitter again. So, how are we doing, guys?
Doing good. Yeah, very warm here in the UK, but no, I think that the stuff we're talking about today is pretty exciting. So looking forward to it.
Packed. How about you, Brie?
It's going well. I am similarly staying inside. There are two fires going on by me. So the cars are like covered in ash.
Oh my god, wildfires?
So yeah, wildfires. Oh, they say they're wildfires, but due to 4th of July, I would guess that they're man-made. But yeah, that would just be my guess. But yeah. So yeah, just staying inside, and it's also like 100+ degrees.
Yeah, so I'm sure the AQI air quality index is horrible then.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
ash on your cars. Well, yeah. glad you're able to seek shelter.
Yeah, stay inside.
Yeah, but yeah, also, what you guys have been playing?
Oh, it's a whole tale, Taylor. I'm continuing my venture into the PS Plus catalog. I've tried a number of different things this week, but I have 3 pretty solid things that I would maybe recommend people check out if it sounds interesting. One is called Foreclosed. It's quite buggy, but it's an indie game that is essentially third-person action shooter, very cyberpunk, kind of like 13 as well, the sort of animated cartoon comic book game from years back. Very similar to that stylistically. Quite short, very nice, short and sweet. That's one. Another is I'm playing through right now, Lost Words, I think it's called. There is a subtitle, I can't remember, but if you look it up, it will be there. It's a 2D side-scrolling platformer that is, again, really stylized. It's set around a young girl writing in her journal, and you are traversing the lines of text as they're being written. And there are segments where you teleport into the story that she's telling herself to escape from some spoilery things going on in her life.
Wow, is it a platformer?
Yes, yeah, and really interesting. Like, for example, there's a mechanic in the game where you have a book that the character can open up, and you can take specific words from this book, like break or repair or lift, something like that, and you can then drag those words onto objects in the environment to interact with them and affect them. And then the third game, which is my heartiest recommendation, is Chicken Police. Yes, you heard me right. Chicken Police.
Police. Okay.
So this is the second week that we're talking about chicken video games.
Indeed.
Yeah, last week was Mort the Chicken. Now it's
complete coincidence, but
sure. Connect the dots, make
essentially
a triangle.
How I would spin it is LA Noire mixed with Zootopia. It's a really, really good detective game. Like, I'm surprised how good it is. If you are kind of interested in detective sleuthing things, whether it's Phoenix Wright or, LA Noire, as I just said, it's actually really quite good. So those 3 would be my choices, but don't get put off by the name of Chicken Police. Like, it is absurd and it looks absurd, but the gameplay and the actual mechanics and story are actually really compelling.
Awesome. And I just looked up Lost Words. So the subtitle is Beyond the Page for those.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think I'll definitely check that one out. Maybe I'll look at Chicken Police just for fun, but
I really
Just
enjoy
just for a
detective
laugh.
games, so I will
Oh,
definitely.
I've never played Ace
Also,
Attorney.
apparently like chicken games, so.
Oh yeah, I've never played Ace Attorney. I need to do that one day.
Oh, it's so good. I haven't finished it, but obviously. I don't even know why I say that anymore.
What about you, Bree? What are you playing that you haven't finished?
To be completely honest with you, I haven't been playing video games like hardly at all. In
Okay.
fact, I can't even think of it. Yeah, I don't think I have. I've been reading mostly
Oh,
because I'm
great.
like babysitting 4 dogs and they take up all the attention. So the games are throwing the ball again and again.
So what? Are you reading manga? Are you reading a regular book?
Ooh, so I was having a bad day the other day, and of course took myself to Barnes and Noble because what else do you do on a bad day? Um,
Therapy? Yeah, of course.
so yeah, so I got a bunch of new books, but one of the books that I got, somebody recommended to me on our Discord. It's like The Executioner and Her Way of Life. It's a light novel. So the bookstore just like happened to have the first novel or like the first volume of that. So I got that and I've been reading that. It's kind of like an isekai, but like with this, it's almost like the world is aware of being an isekai and then like building in on that. And so it's very interesting story. I won't say that it's like the most well written thing I've ever like read, but it's like really interesting concepts and world building. So
What
that's
is
what I've been reading.
isekai?
It means like coming into like you're basically coming from another world. So for example, like Sword Art Online, that's a pretty popular anime that's an isekai where basically he is like put into another world. And that one, it's a video game, so it's a little bit different. There's like more, the most popular plot is that you basically get hit by a truck or a car and you die in Japan and then show up in a fantasy world. It's a very popular plot right now. I would say at least there's 3 or 4 anime every single season that's an isekai. So
Wow.
very
So
popular plot.
is that a genre like how Shonen is Dragon Ball Z?
It's kind of becoming a genre. It's technically not, but because of
Okay.
how many like anime that are kind of falling under that genre, it's like it's becoming a genre almost. So,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Cool stuff. So I guess that just leaves me. So this past week I've been playing, I think just one game. I haven't played that much games this past week, but of what I played, Halo 3, I've been working my way through that on my PC on the Master Chief Collection through Game Pass, and I finished Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2, ranging from I started in December 2021, this past holiday, and I made my way through those two, and I picked up Halo 3 and kind of let it off for a few months, but picked it back up, and now I think 6 of 11 missions through, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's Halo Combat Evolved was good, Halo 2 was great, and Halo 3 is very good so far. I think the scale of the game, even though I'm playing the campaign for listeners curious, I haven't done anything multiplayer Halo other than a couple matches in Infinite once or twice, but the scale in the Halo 3 campaign is kind of crazy to me. It's like I'm Master Chief in context of this huge. The environments are so big, and there's these huge structures, vehicles, phenomenon going around you, and it's kind of hard for me to believe they fit this into a game made in 2007. It makes me feel so much like one like Spec in this huge world, and not many games do that. And I wasn't expecting Halo 3's campaign to, but it does, and it's interesting. The pacing is relatively good. There are a couple sections that are not the best. I'm also playing on heroic difficulty, which is one up from normal difficulty. So there's normal, heroic, and then I think legendary. Heroic enemies do 2 times damage. Legendary, they do more than that. I can't be bothered to play legendary, but I usually like to challenge myself in games, so I played on heroic, and the pacing's pretty good there. On Halo 2, heroic was nearly impossible for me, but in Halo 3, it's good so far. So yeah, and there's some really interesting stuff that happens with Cortana, and I'll leave it there for those interested who haven't played that series yet or going through it now. But yeah, I've betrayed our show, and I've bowed down to Kevin Ainsworth at Project X Talk and played Halo 3. So sorry, everyone.
Unforgivable.
Yeah. You'll make up for it next week, right? I saw you were downloading Returnal.
So next week. Today I just upgraded to PS Plus Extra for the rest of my subscription cycle on my subscription. I think it was like $20 through late January. I'm like, okay. So, and one of the reasons I did that was Kevin Ainsworth, host of the worst Xbox podcast that happens to be on the podcast network, Project X Talk. Go check out his content because I hate him so much.
Dude, oh my god. Don't get me started on the seasoning, man.
He should season his food. Kevin should get a little salty if he actually had seasoning. But he wants to co-op Returnal with me. And I didn't have Returnal, and it's included on PS Plus Extra. And the Returnal secondhand is like $40 if I were to get it physically. It's included on Extra, and the upgrade was $20. So I'm like, why don't I just try this for the rest of the subscription term? So that's downloading as we speak, and I should be jumping in with that with Kevin tonight or later this week. And I also downloaded, or after Returnal's done downloading, I have Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut queued. I'm still making my way through that game, believe it or not. I'm about 50 to 60 hours through, and I think I'm in Act 3.
Mm-hmm.
I might be towards the end of Act 2, but yeah, I take my sweet time with a lot of games, and that's one of them. I'm still running through that, and maybe I'll finally check out what all the haptics and the adaptive triggers are with this game in particular. I refuse to do the $10 upgrade for those when I went to PS5 because I'm like, why? But with PS Plus Extra, I can access that and the Iki Island expansion when I finish the main story. So check that out after Returnal as well.
Yeah. I made the mistake of going to Iki Island. I finished part 1 and then went to Iki Island because I had no idea.
Finished Act 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you went to Iki Island right after? Okay.
Yep. And because I had no idea because I just I got the game after the DLC. Like I got the director's cut. Okay. And I had literally no idea that it was the DLC. And I went there and it was like, are you sure you want to go here? And I was like, I mean, yeah, why not?
Was everyone too strong for you? Or were there spoilers?
No, I almost 100%ed the very first part. So.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm fine. I mean, sometimes I get I'll have to do something a couple of times just because I like to sneak around, but that's just me.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima does stealth relatively easily. I mean, I think especially when you get chain assassination perks in that game, stealth gets much easier. You also have the bell chimes. It's a little cookie cutter, but it works and it's satisfying. I still think the most gratifying part of that game is the melee combat.
Yeah.
The stealth is serviceable, but it doesn't blow my socks off.
Although I do love all the details.
People. Oh yeah.
That they put in the game. I don't know, there's all the small details where it's I don't know, the wind is really cool. It's
I love the wind. Yes.
It's in a normal video game, it's just oh, you're supposed to go this direction kind of thing.
It's a great way of subtly pushing you.
Mm-hmm. They just have a lot of stuff built into the game where the upgrade system is you go to like hot springs and you know what I mean? They have a bunch of different video game things that are just built into the world instead of just being the video game thing.
Right. They're integrated seamlessly.
It's so nice. I love that game.
Yeah. My only gripe is when I'm going to a city center or an outpost with different merchants and stuff, sometimes it takes me several minutes to find where's the armorer in this location. I can't find them. I'm running around passing all these different the trapper, the swordsmith, all the other types, the bowyer, and I'm like, if the wind would also just push me towards the specific merchant I'm looking for, that'd be nice too, but it's pretty small gripe. I also really enjoy of course the game is beautiful, but I love the fox and the shrines.
Yeah.
Those little events are fun. Even though they can get repetitive, I just find the fox cute. Speaking of cute small animals, isn't Stray coming soon, guys?
It is. It is.
It's like this next week. It's like the day after I get back to California. I'm so ready.
And it's going to be on that PS Plus Extra and Premium.
It is.
Oh yeah, that was planned. I didn't plan for that, but I'm going to play it.
Who isn't, right? Who isn't going to play Stray? Let's be honest.
Right. Who's going to play Stray?
People. Okay, there are so many people that don't like cats, and it makes me so sad.
Oh, I'm a cat person.
So sad.
I'm a cat person.
I am definitely a cat person as well.
I'm a dog person, but I don't. You know, I don't. All right, dismiss
Sam, kicking you from the stream now.
Yeah. No, I think it's like the I hate cats that I don't like, where people just really gotta get on this train of like, oh, cats are so mean, I just hate cats, and it's like, oh, okay, so you don't understand boundaries. Okay.
Wow, that's passive aggressive right out the window. There we go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up with a cat and a dog, so I love dogs. I grew closer with my cat growing up than my dog, so that kind of planted that seed, and I don't think that's going anywhere. Unless when I go to find new apartments after I graduate college, most of them are pet free, which would definitely, most certainly not let me have an animal.
Just filter the search. Just filter the search by like allows pets.
Yeah, it's just 80% of the listings in the area I'm moving to are pet free. I'll try to find. I'll do my best to find one that's accommodating.
Not that I'm telling you to break rules, but like if you get a cat that hides.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I've also heard stories where someone has a cat against policy, and then landlord walks in the door, and then you get into some really deep trouble really fast as a tenant.
Fine.
I hope it's fine. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll be 007, go undercover with a cat. We'll see what happens. Yeah. All right, who wants to lead us into the first story?
I will gladly take it.
All right, Sam. I was going to call on you originally, but I decided to put it up to the peanut gallery. But
okay, I see.
Yeah, it's destiny.
Ladies, gentlemen, anybody and everybody in between, God of War Ragnarok is finally coming. We have been through a bit of a tribulation the past few weeks. We've had vitriol online, horrific abuse hurled at developers. We've had speculation. We've had concerns over delays. But no, we finally have a release date. God of War Ragnarok is coming to PS4 and PS5 on the 9th of November this year. And Sony Santa Monica, quite unceremoniously, put out a blog on the PlayStation blog. They also released a new CG trailer, about 30 seconds long, titled Father and Son. We got a little bit of Atreus and Kratos action, as you would expect, and a tease of seemingly Fenris. Interesting story implications there. And we also got a layout of all available editions of the game, with pre-orders confirmed to be going live on the 15th of July at 10 a.m. EST. So that's sort of early to mid-afternoon for me. I will have to make sure I remember the time delay, because, oh boy, we have 4 editions of the game. The launch edition, which is basically just the game itself, and you have a risen snow armor set for Kratos and Atreus. Interesting, I'm just going to point it out. Interesting that they highlight the fact that it's just a cosmetic for Atreus.
So Kratos it'll affect his stats like the first game.
Yes, so, and people have been speculating that we're going to be playing as Atreus at some point in this game. Mm-hmm. This might suggest against that, unless when it comes to us playing as him, the gear doesn't have any effect, but then that gets messy. So
maybe I could see one reason why they might make it cosmetic for Atreus. If these armor sets, the way the armor set might modify the character, you might be able to still play as Atreus, but they're restricting it as cosmetic on him because somehow the point in the game at which you receive this armor set as a bonus is incongruent with the pacing and balancing of the game up to that point. Like if you have a very powerful piece of gear 2 hours in,
very true,
kind of like a glamour plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe that's why it's a cosmetic for Atreus, or you just don't play as him like the first game.
Yeah. Which would be a shame.
I mean, it would definitely be a shame. I was kind of hoping for like a Last of Us where you play as him as well, but it doesn't super surprise me like that he wouldn't be playable in this, because I suspect he'll be the only playable character next. So.
Yeah. Also, people were getting really mad online that, like, there's some really stupid meta stuff that people were doing where it was leaked that the presentation, the reveal of the release date for Ragnarok was going to be on June 30th. That came and went, and then all the enthusiasts on the Twitter mob started coming down, and I'm like, guys, you're getting mad over a leaked date like it's the Bible or something, and I can't believe people put that much stake into a leak or rumor as being fact. And this is some people get carried away when a leak or two gains traction on things becoming true. Even a Jason Schreier always take leaks and speculation and rumors, if it's not coming from the company themselves, take it with a grain of salt, and people forget that. And it was really stupid on a lot of the really rabid fans sections of the gaming community who got mad, quote unquote mad, over this delay or if there was even a delay of the reveal of the release date. Not even the game, guys. Reveal of the release date.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the weirdest thing is that, yes, like, not that I ever condone getting vitriolic or definitely not abusive towards developers, but like, when the rumors started, I can understand people maybe feeling let down. But then when, I'm going to put this in air quotes here for audio listeners, more reputable people like Jason Schreier said that yes, there was going to be a reveal on June 30th. Surely the logic would dictate that the reveal is still coming quite soon, even if it isn't happening on June 30th. Because if they were planning to have it on June 30th, even if it's delayed, that still means logically thinking that it's probably coming within the next month anyway. And then that means that the game also likely isn't delayed. And if it is delayed, maybe a month at most. So it feels weird that, like, there was no point in that process where the leak happened, then it kind of got corroborated, then it basically got confirmed, kind of, in all but Sony Santa Monica commenting on it, obviously. Nobody, I mean, it's just how fanboy culture works, I suppose, and the hate engine that Twitter is. There is no room for discourse. But it's a shame, but me logically thinking, I'm like, well, we're going to get it soon, and then we did, so it was all for nothing. So anyway,
what do we still have to go through the digital deluxe edition?
Yeah, I mean, I'll break it down very quick.
This is a lot of stuff. Yeah, we think we could just go through the list. I don't think we have to explain.
What are like the main differences between the different? It's just like more cosmetic stuff.
Yeah,
and art books.
Digital deluxe, you get the game, obviously, digital art book. You get a different cosmetic set.
This is for digital deluxe edition. Yeah.
Yes, for the digital deluxe, you get an avatar set, a digital soundtrack, and a PS4 theme. That's weird to me that they're still doing PS4 themes. I mean, I get that it's coming out on PS4 as well.
PS5 doesn't have themes yet. Sony, it took them 2 years.
Didn't they say that they weren't going to?
It's stupid. It took them 18 months to do faceplates. It'll take them another 18 months to do themes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I thought that they said specifically that they weren't going to do themes on PS5.
They've said that, I guess, because the way that the UI on PS5 is designed, because they have, or most games tend to have individualized artwork on the home screen. I understand that it might be harder to implement, but again, surely you could just have it as a choice where, like, you can toggle whether you want individual artwork for all your games on your home screen, or you would just like a consistent image that you can choose. I think that wouldn't be that hard to implement. But again, I'm not, like you say, Brie, I'm not holding out hope that it's coming, unfortunately. Yeah. If not for something like this, then what? Like, this would have been the perfect opportunity to say, you're getting a PS5 theme as well. But that's not.
I know, and I'm so bummed about like where's the like case as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
I really wanted a God of War PS5 to go along with my God of War PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
no
right,
custom
panels.
faceplates. Yeah,
faceplates. Yeah, they haven't. I mean, people have made some great decals online. I know I saw one in particular for Ghost of Tsushima. Someone got a decal, and it looks really great on their white PS5 faceplates. So I assume there'll be some similar Nordic characters and designs for Ragnarok, but you're right, it's still not the same as Sony gave it to you, but I guess.
I know, just take my money. Like, honestly, like, like this is free money.
Yeah.
And the two most expensive ones, there's the Collectors and Jotnar, respectively. You get a steelbook, digital copy of the game. I don't like that at all. I'm with Ethan. I want physical media. I get that if you've got a digital only PS5 and you buy the collector's edition, you're kind of screwed if you only get a physical copy of the game. But to get a steelbook and no disc, that feels weird to me, because I'm probably going to go for the collector's edition, honestly, and I want a disc. So I don't want to have to double dip, but realistically in the future, I'm probably going to have to.
Gotcha.
The collector's edition also comes with a 16-inch Mjolnir replica, 2-inch Vania twin carving, similar to what the original 2018 game had, a dice set, and obviously all the other digital content that we've talked about before. And the most expensive one has a vinyl record by Bear McCreary, a cloth map, and a ring and a pin set.
And a big box, huge box, right? They posted an unboxing of the Jotnar edition on their YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. Oh, and for those who don't know, Mjolnir is Thor's hammer.
Yes.
Yeah. And Bear McCreary is the composer of God of War 2018 and now Ragnarok.
So many things to kind of unpack here, I think. Obviously, Thor's going to be in the game, but I think the fact that they're giving a Mjolnir replica probably means we're going to wield it at some point.
I was curious about that too.
Obviously, that's not a guarantee by any means, but I think because it's like a super iconic weapon. But I think that's not that this necessarily implies anything, but I would wager that we're going to see.
I'm a little pissed they would let us know now that we get to wield Thor's hammer. I would have liked to figure that out or find that out organically in the game, assuming it wasn't within the first 5 minutes. Like, if I wield Thor's hammer in this game, and it happens to be like 40-50% through the game or later, and they've already given me this much lead time and let me know, I'm a bit bummed about that if that's true. So I hope the fact they told us Thor's hammer is here means we wield it within the first 2 hours of booting the game, or not at all. But I feel like this now sets an expectation that you're gonna play with Thor's hammer. As we saw, actually, I was about to spoil another piece of media if I talked about it. Another character. Never mind. Sam knows where I'm going with this, but I'm gonna.
I do. Yeah. I mean, again, the ring, who knows what that means really. The Vania twins, who are they? They're not the dwarves, obviously.
Right. Brock and Sindri, they're not them.
Yeah, obviously the dice set is in reference to them. And then the Falcon, Bear, Wolf pin set. I think that's actually probably the most interesting thing to me. Weirdly, like, it seems the most overlooked element of this, but
Falcon, Bear, Wolf. Is there some sort of shape-shifting?
That's what I'm thinking, because we know Freya transforms into a bird.
Right.
I would assume that's a falcon.
Wolf. I feel like I'm going crazy, but I feel like there was something like, didn't Atreus have some sort of like magic thing?
Yeah,
where he summoned wolves or stuff?
He can summon spectral animals.
So maybe it's referencing that.
Yeah.
Where does the bear come from?
That's where I'm like, maybe that's an allusion to something that we don't know about yet. But I think that obviously those are three very specific animal choices. Like, they didn't just pick three random animals.
No. Yeah, this is
just
intentional.
Like, it means something. And obviously, again, like with the CG trailer that they put out, we get shown Fenrir, which I'm not going to delve into who that is, but it's essentially a very large wolf that is quite important in Norse mythology.
Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting.
It's a character from Final Fantasy. I'm just kidding.
Red 13. What? Yeah, Fenrir. Assuming that is Fenrir, it's going to play into the story. It's not just going to be a boss fight, if at all. Think potentially, and this isn't necessarily spoilers, but think along World Serpent lines.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I love the World Serpent from the first game. What a great character.
Yeah,
that area. What a great area. I'm probably going to replay the game going into Ragnarok.
See, I think I'm going to hold off personally. I
hold
feel
off on
like
replaying.
I think I'm going to wait. Not that God of War 2018 gets old at all. I think that the gameplay still holds up and is fun.
Yeah, the 60 FPS upgrade on PS5
exactly
applied to the game.
But I think like the story and the plot of that game is so ingrained in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to go into Ragnarok because it's obviously going to be an immediate follow-up. I kind of want to go in still remembering some things, but potentially having other elements reintroduced to me. And I'm like, oh wait, yeah, that did happen.
Right. That's why I'm with The Last of Us 1 and then the remake.
Exactly.
I'm so far removed from the first game. I'm kind of want to ride that lack of momentum of memory into the remake again and organically re-experience some of these iconic moments.
Totally. Cool. But yeah, we have God of War Ragnarok. It is coming. It's a few months away. Not long to wait, people.
November 9th, 2022, everyone. So
and it's not getting delayed. It's not going to happen. They've announced the dates. They wouldn't have announced the date if it was going to get delayed.
They could, guys, come on. They could still delay it.
I mean, they could.
I think the probability is less than 10% that it still gets delayed again. But it's always.
I think something really crazy would have to happen for them to delay it, because at this point, like the game, for them to have announced the release date so close, the game basically has to be done, and most of the team has to be moving into like DLC content or whatever they're doing next, right? Because like they have to, like, in order to get physical copies and stuff of the game out, like they have to be like sending the game out very shortly. So.
All right. Well, let's see. I think about 3 months lead time from going gold to a game's release is usually how that goes. Like, that's kind of the cutoff. You can only cut it that close before you can start sending it into production.
Yeah, which is like next month. So, yeah. So to announce it this close, I think we're theoretically good.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Cool. And the news didn't stop coming. I guess I'll take this next one. This week. We have some leaks. The leaks for the PS Plus Extra and Premium tiers for July. Some of the July games have been leaked for those services. Users Blackgate on Reset Era said that with a number of other games that the catalog will be upgraded with July with games such as Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and Final Fantasy VII Remake Episode Intermission. Is that the name of the first episode by itself?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, while we're on this, does anybody understand what's going on with Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I never played
I don't understand what the breakdown is of like how it's being released.
So it's being
I understand there's parts, but like
so they're kind of rebuilding Final Fantasy VII from the ground up in terms of world building and their story. They're not really following the first game that closely at all. So it's going to be episodic. Big episodes.
Yeah, because I bought Final Fantasy VII, basically. First episode, but I'm like not really like if I bought the first episode, does it include other episodes, or are they being released and you like have to buy it each time?
So,
or like
the first episode you bought, that is just that episode. When that Final Fantasy VII Remake's second episode comes out, you'll have to buy that individually, and the third episode individually, and so on. Well, unless you play them here on PS Plus.
What's like the integrated intermission?
So Intergrade is DLC for episode 1.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a DLC expansion for the first Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
It gets very messy. It's kind of like imagine it like Kingdom Hearts, where it's just like there's 1.5 remix, and I don't know what that means, but it's kind of like a side thing, but it's also connected. It's that logic that you have to bring into Final Fantasy VII.
And then they're also porting Crisis Core, which is not Final Fantasy VII the main story. It's an offshoot of Final Fantasy VII, right? Or was it a sequel?
No, it's kind of a prequel.
It's kind of a prequel,
also
yeah.
it's there are elements of Crisis Core that happen concurrently to Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. It's a whole thing.
It came out on the PSP originally. Now they're porting it to modern systems. Yeah.
Okay.
But so there's that. Final Fantasy VII Remake and all its parts are rumored to be coming to the service. Saints Row 4 and some Assassin's Creed games. As we've seen, Valhalla came to the service recently. Sony's and Ubisoft are getting more aggressive with their partnership. Black Flag, Unity, Rogue, Freedom Cry, which is DLC to Black Flag, and the Ezio Collection, which includes Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, which are all follow the main protagonist, Ezio Auditore, in that trilogy. Those are all coming to PlayStation Plus, and if I do say so, PS Plus Extra and Premium, and if I do say so myself, I, for one, loved Black Flag when it came out. Yeah. It was ridiculously fun for me. One of my favorite open world games, and I usually don't like open world games at all.
Yeah. Black Flag was actually the one I checked out on. I played like all of the games before that, and then I like haven't played like since Black Flag came out like at all.
So yeah, it was Black Flag. Unity came out after Black Flag, before.
After,
and then we transitioned into Origins, which is the kind of the new gen of Assassin. Oh,
Syndicate. I mean, there was Syndicate in there somewhere as well. I think it went Black Flag, Unity,
Syndicate, Origins. I think so.
Yeah.
Either way, the kind of the old gen Assassin's Creed games are from before Origins, and quote unquote the new style are Origins and forward, or Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla.
So with the Ezio collection specifically, and I guess this is a leak, so we obviously don't know for 100% sure this is true, but with the Ezio collection specifically, like there was news about like Ubisoft like pulling like support for the older games.
Yes, that
does that
showed
affect
up.
This?
I don't think it doesn't affect the Ezio collection. Ubisoft pulled support on those games on their old consoles of Origin. So they pulled support for those online, I think, on the Xbox 360 and on the PS3. I don't think those games in the Ezio collection had the online capabilities that their original counterparts had. I think the Ezio collection was just the campaigns. You don't have the multiplayer of the old games in their native form.
Okay, because they were also talking about like the DLC wasn't going to be accessible either.
Right. So
but I assume the collection has the DLC with it. Okay.
The collection's like all of it wrapped in a bow that you can access. But the original Assassin's Creed 2, let's say on Xbox 360, that's the criteria that was targeted for Ubisoft's disabling of online and DLC access, which is still not good, but it shouldn't affect Ezio collection.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I figured it didn't, but I just like was checking because I'm like, what if they're like literally pulling this at the same time as
I might be wrong, but that'd be a really stupid thing, and I really, really doubt Ubisoft would do that.
I would hope not.
Does this? I mean, obviously, we are taking this with a pinch of salt, but this guy does have a good track record. Okay. Does this do anything for you? Like, obviously, this isn't the entire lineup of things that are being added, but is this...
For me, it doesn't, because the things here I would have been interested... Actually, Rogue, I might jump into. I've been meaning to get Rogue for a while, but I haven't. But that's pretty minor. I've been looking to get into Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's on the docket eventually for me to play, but it came out on PS Plus a month ago when Sony also rescinded the 60 FPS update on PS5. They finally added back to the game on PS Plus Essential before the tiers came out. This was just regular PS Plus.
Yeah.
And now they're adding it to Extra and Premium. So it's good. That's good there. But Intergrade is a new edition. That didn't come out on PS Plus beforehand. Just the original Final Fantasy VII Remake. So maybe Intergrade is of interest for me.
I agree. That's about it for me is Final Fantasy VII. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I've played Black Flag, same as you, Taylor. Loved it. Played through the Ezio collection already. Saints Row 4 is like DOA. There's no point even. It's just
Dead on Arrival, yeah.
garbage.
We have the reboot coming this August, right? So we'll
which
see about
also looks horrible, in my opinion.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII, I'm exactly the same boat as you, Taylor, weirdly, where it's sort of been something that I've tried to get into a couple of times, and I know that if I do actually like invest time in it, I probably will really enjoy it. But I've always just bounced off onto other things. So maybe, like you say, with Intergrade and Intermission being included as well, maybe now that I've got a more complete package, it might be enough to entice me back in.
Right. Yeah. I didn't play the original because I tried getting to the original, but as is the common theme with me in turn-based games, I was like, I don't like waiting. I need instant gratification in my combat. So not doing it for me, but Intermission is action-based.
Yeah.
And that might pull me on board. But yeah, nothing here that's grabbing me, to be honest. But Crash 4 PS Plus Essential for the month of July grabbed me a lot more than these, and I'm going to download that later today too. But yeah, nothing here that jumps out. Bree, please talk to us about PlayStation Store and movies.
Woo! Just the news we were looking for. Okay, so PlayStation Store is pulling access to purchase movies next month. Whilst it is only currently limited to Studio Canal films, it will affect customers in Germany and Austria. It is likely that this is an indication of a worldwide wipe. Interesting.
That's bad.
It sucks. I mean, it's inevitable, but it sucks. Like, because this is essentially a PS3 thing, I understand that they need to... Actually, no, I don't. I was about to try and defend them. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know why they're doing it.
It was also a thing on PS4 well into the generation, I think.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. Why are you doing this, Sony? Why?
I mean,
why?
yeah, they could at least...
I'm going to be honest. I never have ever bought a movie.
Neither have I.
I've heard they have really good deals for those who have, but it's like Sony can afford to host the servers to access these movies. And if not, they can at least... You know what Sony could do? They could shut down the store, but for everyone who purchased a movie, they send you in an email kind of vouchers, I don't know, to access the movies. But then I guess it's still the same amount of server space. But something like that, if they could just not terminate your access to these movies, but preserve it in some form. Because Sony still has the license to distribute these movies, because Sony owns Blu-ray, and every movie's on Blu-ray, right? Yeah. And, well, actually, I don't know if that's how that logic works, but I think the point is with Sony, between Sony owning the Blu-ray format and their previous behavior allowing you access to these and how rich Sony is as a corporation, they can afford to let their consumers still access the movies they've bought, like Xbox has with your legacy Xbox 360 games and Xbox games.
I think as well, like a while back, I can't even remember how long, a year or so by this point, there was a trial going on in one of the...
Oh, right. I remember this.
I can't remember where it was.
Some European country, I think.
Yeah. Eastern European, I think.
Let me see.
One of the Icelandic countries, somewhere around there, that they were doing a trial where included in your PlayStation Plus subscription, and this is old PlayStation Plus before the revamp, you got like a library of Sony films, I think. Or maybe it was mainly Sony, but also some others sprinkled in, something like that. What became of that? Why not?
PlayStation Plus Video Pass, Poland.
Poland.
A year-long trial. It was a movie streaming app. This was as of April 22nd, 2021. That it was a trial service running in Poland for a year, and they offer 21 movies and TV shows at no extra cost to PS Plus subscribers. Then PS Plus, what currently would be PS Plus Essential. And as recent as last year, Sony was still flirting with movie streaming, but they pulled the plug.
So the optimist within me would look at that and say, okay, well, maybe they are still planning something. Like it was just last year that they were trialing this. So maybe
they give you access again in some new format.
Yeah, maybe. But then that gets kind of shady, because then you're like, okay, wait, are you pulling access to people that own these films to then make them buy into your new subscription service to access the films again? I don't know. That kind of could be what they're doing. But it just seems like a weird move without something to sweeten the taste of it, because this is just making people bitter that do buy films on PlayStation. Yeah, feels weird to me.
Yeah, definitely odd.
We'll
see. Let's see. And Sam, take us away with PS3 native on PS5, please.
Oh, if only this were probably true, which it probably isn't. Sony seemingly appear to be sort of ramping up their support for PS3 titles on PS5. Obviously, for those that aren't aware, you can now technically play PS3 games on PS5 via the extra and premium tiers of PS Plus, but it is streaming only. So that means if you have bad internet, you can't play PS3 games.
Right, and even if your internet is decent, but your ping isn't the best, you'll have major lag on these games.
Exactly.
It's like a fighting game. You can have great upload and download speeds, but if your ping, how long it takes to ping back an action, if your ping speed milliseconds is relatively high, it's not going to be a good
time. But there is potentially a glimmer of hope, because they have filed a new patent, and the patent is titled, and I quote, "Systems and methods for converting a legacy code into an updated code." Now, to be fair, at the time of recording, the information on this patent is quite limited, but there are a number of diagrams involved in the patent filing that specifically reference PS3 hardware and software.
Interesting.
So you think it would be safe to assume that they are actively going to push, not necessarily just for software, but also potentially, and this is really spitballing, high in the sky kind of thing, but there is some peripheral stuff that's referenced in this patent. So like the PlayStation Eye for PS3, that was referenced. So does that then mean that games that specifically require that might also be playable on PS5, so long as you have a PlayStation Eye camera? I like it. I'm glad, because any backwards compatibility stuff is a win. I think game preservation is something that needs to be taken more seriously.
Yes.
But again, it's really early days. So, I think we're being optimistic and hoping that this is what it seems to be. But Sony have done patents like this before. Like, I think there was one back in January where it was spoof clocks or something, I think was the focus of that one. And the rumor was that was backwards compatibility focused, and they have legacy engineers on their teams now, and that hasn't really brought anything to fruition. So wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, definitely wait and see. I know I think Nintendo before was fooling around with a Game Boy patent, and nothing came of that yet recently. Let me see. Nintendo Game Boy patent. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that just because they made this patent doesn't mean they're going to act on it, but it certainly raises your eyebrow and makes you curious, but I wouldn't necessarily be expecting. And let's say Sony is full on heading in this direction. I think it must be at least a couple years out before we'd even see the first iterations of a native implementation, right? Native emulation takes for the PS3 specifically, because of how odd its architecture was with the cell architecture, takes major amounts of time to do. Granted, there have been solutions like RPCS3, which is a PC-based PS3 emulator, which has had its compatibility increasing steadily with PS3 library over the past several years. And if Sony really wanted to, they could base it off that, as they also base their emulator in the PS Classic, I think, off of a publicly available PlayStation emulator, but they still have a lot of work to do doing it on the PS5 hardware and ensuring performance is good with specific games, et cetera, et cetera. So even if this is effectively a confirmation, the fruits of this labor will not be seen for, I think, at least 2 years.
Yeah, I think it will probably be a while. Yeah. The other thing is it's like you said, like with patents, like they don't have to do anything with a patent.
No, they're just
like they could just be using it to like experiment and see like what can we do with this. So unfortunately, we have no idea.
I mean, Sony filed a patent again, probably within the last year or so, where they had like a real life doll thing that would sit next to you, and if you asked, it would feed you hints in real time whilst you're playing a game.
Like a physical doll.
Yeah, like a real world,
so scary,
Black Mirror kind of
when
surveillance.
Did this patent come out again?
I feel like it's definitely within the last couple of years.
Oh my god, they're like integration. What's that dark whatever anthology?
Dark Pictures Anthology.
Yeah.
Yes, this is 2011. Sony patented an interactive PlayStation doll.
I'm sure that there was some kick up about it over the last couple of years. I don't know whether they renewed the patent or something.
It's so funny.
Because I remember it talking about before the PS5 launched in the run up to it that they were talking about.
What kind of room did that they get in where everybody was like, "This is a good idea"? Like,
might have been one engineer was really pushing to his boss. Can we just do this patent, right? Sometimes patents that are green lit are so far removed from a CEO level decision that it might be a certain department in a certain section of the company that was think tanking some pretty obtuse things, and they just decided to patent this.
Dude, there's no way I could not have that in my house though, because I'd be so scared that it would just randomly. I'm scared of Furbies because like they can randomly go off. Like you put them in a closet, like, and they just like randomly talk to you. No,
I'm scared of idle webcams picking up video and audio signals.
Yeah,
like let alone that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever played. The Calling on the Wii.
I've heard of it, but no. On the Wii.
It got terrible reviews, but it was so good. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
More the Chicken also got terrible reviews.
So good.
You love that game.
I know. I just listen. I like terrible games apparently.
It's okay. So does Kevin. No. Like he plays bad games, and like we have a Patreon goal for the next horrible game for Kevin to play.
He's playing Peppa.
Patreon.com/GiveTheGameMedia, and he's gonna be playing Peppa soon.
That's gonna be great. Yeah. So this game, it made really good use of the remotes, like speakers. So for example, you go to like different kind of like horror locations. So this is like a Japanese horror video game basically.
Okay.
So one of the locations you went to was a school. It was just like a traditional Japanese school with like classrooms and stuff. And there were 3 floors. And so you basically would explore to get up to the top floor. And then on the top floor, there was this ghost that would call you. Because you have a phone in the game, but what you'd have to do is you'd have to pick up the remote to your ear, and you'd be like it would basically be like, "I'm coming to get you." Like that's what the phone call was. It's like, "Oh, I'm on the first floor. I'm coming for you." And so you're like trying to figure out a way out of this building because you're basically in this abyss where there's nothing outside the building. And then it calls you again on the second floor. It's like, "Oh, I'm getting closer." And you're like, "Oh, shit, it's so scary." And that's just like on the Wii remote. Can you imagine a doll that's like, "I'm coming to get you"? Like, no, absolutely not. No. What can I say? Terrible games, fun times.
It's great. Yeah. So, when Sony gets back compat, we can access terrible PS3 games like that.
Amen.
There we go. I'm thumbsing up for you audio listeners. But Bree, going off your role about The Calling, please tell us about this recent indie showcase.
I still haven't watched it. Like I want to like actually watch it.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I don't care. I don't watch it. Like I'm not invested in everything PlayStation, guys. I love PlayStation, but I don't watch every single piece of content. But I do hear great things about at least several games on this list that I've heard great things about.
Yeah, for sure. I just really like watching like those conferences. I don't know, like those kinds of like short video conferences. I think they're fun. Anyways, okay. So PlayStation recently held an indie spotlight focusing on several upcoming games. I'm not going to be able to pronounce one of those. So Sea of Stars, supposed to be coming in 2023. It's a retro-inspired RPG.
That was recently delayed to 2023, but it's coming to Switch as well.
Yeah, it's so pretty. It's like it's
from the makers of The
Messenger.
I'm so excited. For those familiar with that game, which is a retro modern Ninja Gaiden type time traveling.
I own that game, haven't played it.
Same. I think I have it on Epic. That's where I got it. Epic for free. Like every other game I have.
I want to say Switch. So
It's very good.
Fun.
Awesome.
What's this next one? I have no idea.
Skim?
I don't know either. I think it's Skim.
Okay, so
Skim.
just for people that see SCH, little like lowercase I and then M, and the rest of them are uppercase. I have no idea, but it's a puzzle focused around shadows, which sounds cool. I did not see this one, but I'll go watch the video and come back later and we can talk
It's
about
kind
it.
of like have either of you seen the Pedestrian, that puzzle game where it's like you're working exclusively through like construction signs and billboards and whatnot? You're like a little stick figure. It's kind of like that aesthetically, but you are working exclusively like on flat surfaces through shadow. Well, not just flat surfaces, but on surfaces via shadows. So like you're a shadow person. Interesting. Yeah.
That sounds super interesting. This next one, so excited about. Cult of the Lamb is a roguelike action strategy coming out August 11th. Like, we're a month away from it.
Game. I haven't touched it, but I might download the demo on Steam because of how much great things I hear about it. And it's Devolver. Let me some Devolver, so.
Yeah, it's like, it looks just like so fun and quirky. Like, and also, who doesn't want like a cult, you know?
Right, who doesn't want a cult? Just like, Church of Scientology. Woohoo! Yeah. Tom Cruise, reel it in.
Yeah. Okay, Signalis?
Yeah,
I have no idea if that's okay. Sci-fi survival horror coming out October 27th, which is perfect timing. I saw just like the cover art of that, and I'm like, yes, I will be downloading.
Oh, great! And then you have Callisto Protocol a few months later if it doesn't get delayed, and then Dead Space Remake if that doesn't get delayed either.
I love scary games. Oh, best. Okay, Tomorrow Children Phoenix Edition, which is a Minecraft-esque construction/destruction game, relaunching September 6th. Never played that.
It's rough. It's been an early access game for years, and they basically cancelled it, and it was canned, and now it was free to play with microtransactions, and it crashed and burned, and now they are relaunching it as a paid game, but it doesn't look like it's changed. So this is probably the weak point of this spotlight, honestly, I'd say. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't have any connection.
Yeah, that sounds sad though. I mean, especially with microtransactions. Oh, they drive me crazy. Okay, Cursed to Golf is a 2D side scroller coming August 18th. Haven't seen anything that.
Nope. I know a fellow podcaster named Donnie Reset on the PlayStation Video Games Podcast Network is a golf nut. He plays every golf game, so the second I hear a new golf game is coming, I think Donnie Reese is going to play it. Yeah.
All I know is that it's very Celeste in art style, seemingly.
Okay.
Which is nice, very pleasing. But I'm not a golf fanatic, so it's going to have it's got to have a hook that's going to reel me in other than golf, I think.
I guess we'll see. Okay, and then Inscription just coming soon. However, I do know there were some details about how they're adding some exclusive features to the PlayStation. I didn't read far enough to know what those exclusive features were.
It's the usual stuff of like if you've played Inscription, there's like a Stoked or a Weasel character that is a mainstay throughout the game. He'll speak to you through the controller if you want. I don't typically like that kind of thing, but that's a thing. Obviously, the haptics and the triggers, as per usual. I think they said 3D audio as well. It's very basic stuff. It's not necessarily anything super interesting. It's just the PS5 features that most PS5 games have.
Okay, I was like, I didn't read it because I was worried I was going to be bummed about it because I just bought it on my PC, like just barely.
Yeah, I hear very good things about it, and I didn't. I knew it had a psychological horror aspect, but I just learned today that it's card based. I thought it was a horror roguelike. I didn't know it was a card building roguelike.
I mean,
there you go.
But it's also an escape the room game, which is what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like the more blind you go into it, the better it is because it does twist and turn. Like it does start off as a card game, but I'm not going to say anything else. It might not stay that way,
Turns into a farming simulator.
Yep. And Stardew Valley 2, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's already a game.
and we excavate all our surroundings.
Is it?
And
I don't think so.
No,
Stardew
I
2
feel
is
like
what?
No, okay, don't scare me like that. I'm like, did I just miss Stardew Valley too?
Wait, there's not a Stardew. I'm googling
There's
this.
not.
I don't know. I think it's just because Stardew Valley has been out for so long and it's still going. You know, it's still super
Yeah,
popular.
he's not
that I
making the
just...
Stardew Valley 2. He's
Oh.
making a different game. I can't remember what it's called.
Chocolatier is the new game that I forget the name of the creator. He goes by
I'm so
Concerned Ape
excited.
is the pseudonym. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. Can't wait for that. Don't scare me like that.
Sorry.
Oh, cool. And awesome. So that brings us to the end of the news segment, heading into our topic of the show, also known as TOTS. Very nice abbreviation that Bree made. I love it.
I did not. I just want to be clear. I did not make it.
Wait, Sam, did you make the abbreviation?
No, I
did
wrote
not
TOTS,
make the
but it's from Kind of Funny's PlayStation podcast.
Oh my god!
They call it topic of the show, but what they do is they go TOTS.
We're all sellouts.
I am, because they're like, dude, I'm a Kind of Funny fangirl. I'm not even gonna lie about it. I'm loyal to almost nothing besides them.
We're gonna rename it. I'm gonna think of a new name. We're gonna rename it and make it unique.
It was just an easy thing to name it, you know?
It is very easy.
And I really didn't want to write topic of the show, to be honest with you, over and over again.
So. I'll think tank.
I believe in you.
Thanks. Yeah.
I believe in you.
Anyway, our original idea for the show, called topic of the show, not Kind of Funny games or PS I Love You, is about God of War Ragnarok. So with the game coming in November 9th, 2022, for those of you who missed that earlier, name one thing that we hope individually to see unfold or be added to the game, and something that we cross our fingers gets left behind from its previous iteration, God of War 2018.
Okay, before we jump into this, I think it's fair to say, like, this is spoiler alert. So if you have not played God of War 2018 for some reason, like...
Good. Yeah, that's a good disclaimer, Bree. I agree. So if you're leaving the show now, please check out our Patreon, Discord, socials, all in the show notes. But if you're staying on for spoilers, we still love you. Please
just go play God of War.
Just go play God of War, yeah, and finish the game, Bree. Wait, speaking of finishing the game, Bree,
yeah,
Sam and I have to censor ourselves.
No. I think. Wait. Okay, since we're in spoiler territory, I think I can say more. Okay, so you go up the mountain, and then you find out like his true identity is Loki, right? That's the end of like the story, right?
Well, and then there's a teaser ending at the end where Thor shows up to his front door with the hammer and lightning coming down from the sky.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember seeing that. So the part that I didn't finish, I think, is like the Valkyries.
Okay.
The Seeger and the Valkyries are more for personal pride than anything having that's narrative significant.
I mean, there is one thing that happens when you beat the last big bad Valkyrie.
Seeker.
Yeah. I know that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to, I need to do that. That's what I need to go do. But like I kind of want to like just get back into the world. Like I really loved that world.
Go play the game.
Go play the game. You got time.
But I gotta go home and play Stray though. That's like
very, very true. Priorities.
Yeah.
Priorities.
You still have until November. Like, come on. But what are you seeing? But what's your answer to this question, Bree?
Ooh, okay. I really do. Okay, so I cannot remember the names of the weapons because I never played the original games. I'm so sorry, but the weapons that like ended up being reintroduced.
Blades of Chaos.
Yes.
What a great sequence that was, getting reintroduced. That sequence where he went back to the house was my favorite part of the game. Especially as someone who played the previous God of War games, it was so powerful.
Yeah, I haven't. I watched like a 30-minute video that's like, here's what you need to know.
Oh, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
That's where I was at. And then like that, I still loved that moment because I was like, oh my God, aren't those his weapons? That's so cool. I'm kind of hoping, because there's no way they can recreate that moment again, right? Like there's no way for them to redo that. But
I guess
if they do it with the hammer, that would be cool.
But he never wielded the hammer in previous God of War games.
Right, but it's still like a cool reference, right? Like I feel like they can't really recreate that moment exactly, but I feel like having him wield the hammer, like seriously wield the hammer, not just like cutscene wield the hammer, would be like a good moment, not to necessarily be like one for one, but like also like a good hype moment.
I think that might be coming a la actually Avengers Endgame. There's some interesting things that happen with Thor there. At this point, I don't mind. I don't mind mentioning that. But yeah, we might get some epic battles with that. But I just don't think it can hold the weight of his past that the blades do.
No, definitely not.
But
that's just like kind of what I'm looking forward to, like as far as like just like a hype moment. I think that would be cool. I'm just kind of like open to wherever like the writers want to take the story, and that's kind of what I look for.
Right. What if he brutally kills Thor with his hammer in full Kratos rage mode in front of Atreus? Atreus sees his true colors from his past. Right, that'd be pretty.
As long as it's not as bloody as Last of Us 2, I'm good.
Oh wait, you haven't seen God of War 3 murders, Brie. Oh no, it's
poor Helios. Good God,
Helios. Kratos decapitates Helios in full
with his bare hands,
HD with his bare hands, and you use his head to illuminate your way through the remainder of the game, and as a stun for enemies by just taking his head out of your pocket like you do with Mimir. Except
you like this?
Yeah. Except his veins and gore and parts are hanging from his neck in God of War 3. You also gouge out Poseidon's eyes. That's how you kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And
all good things.
And you beat Hercules to death with blunt force trauma. So
okay.
I mean,
well, I definitely don't want to spoiler Last of Us 2. But like that, like what is it? It's like in the first hour, like there's like a really brutal scene.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we're not like at that, like, because that was also emotionally brutal. So I think I'll be okay.
I think it might get that brutal. I'm sorry. Like God of War already has the reputation of getting
I'll play it anyway.
Going hard into violence and brutality.
Yeah.
So wouldn't bank on them not pulling punches. Sorry, Brie.
I know. It's fine. It's okay. I'll just be really grossed out. I'm like really bad at gore.
Okay. What about you, Sam?
I'll start by saying what I hope gets left behind, and it's really hard because I do think that God of War 2018 is nearly perfect.
Leave behind Niflheim.
See, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it too much.
That's the roguelite section, Brie. Of that game.
I think I liked that section of the
game. I hated it. The fog, I'm like, this sucks. I want to leave.
If I remember incorrectly with that, I'm pretty sure I liked that section.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be wrong.
I hope that and again, it's really nitpicky because you kind of have to get down to that level with God of War, but I hope that they refine the fast travel system, assuming that there will still be one.
Yes.
Which I think there will be.
It's a good ask.
I think it's just because you could get pretty much most places with the fast travel, but if you wanted to go somewhere very specific,
yes,
you had to go like a mile away, and then you had to take a really convoluted route to get to a certain place.
Mine's similar to this, but not this exactly. Yeah.
And then something I want to see, kind of twofold. One, I hope that there is kind of like a Metal Gear Solid 2 twist where realistically all the stuff they show us pre-launch is maybe like the first hour or so of the game, and then there's some kind of twist, some kind of reveal that happens that completely changes the game, and they aren't going to tell us or even hint at it. And I hope that that's something that can surprise us.
Right.
But something I want to see specifically is expand on other pantheons. I mean, we kind of got alluded to it in 2018 where they had there was a wooden board that had the Eye of Horus. I think it had a Celtic symbol on it. Obviously, the Omega.
Other sections of mythology.
Yes, yeah, other pantheons.
I didn't know that was
gods.
That'd be great. And I didn't know that illusion was in God of War 2018.
It's very subtle, like super easy to overlook, but it's there. Yeah.
Cool.
I really think that what they're going to end up doing is I think they're going to like write out the Norse mythology for this game, and I think they're going to jump mythologies for like the
Corey
next
Balrog
game.
already confirmed that Ragnarok is the last God of War game in this saga of God of War 2018 and this game in this setting in this storyline. Like this is it for this current iteration of God of War or this saga. I think is the best way of describing it. So this, it leaves the door open for anywhere they want to go afterwards in different sections of mythos. I think Egyptian mythology would be really cool.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, what would be like your choices for mythology?
All right.
That was the original premise for God of War 2018 before they settled on Norse. It was Egyptian mythology. Corey Barlog did want to do that. And obviously we got the Eye of Horus. And I think when they are in, if you do replay it, Brie, there is, when they are in the treasure room and there's all the puzzles that you have to solve, I think Atreus does put on like an Egyptian burial mask.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
So
I don't know if I remember
that's
that
I would want Egypt personally. I think that's probably the most ripe potential wise. Other than that, maybe like go really oddball and go sort of Japanese.
Ooh, that would be so cool.
Yokai.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. I think. I mean, you might be branching into like, you know, Neo and whatnot, things like that. It's been done quite a lot recently. Even Ghost of Tsushima kind of has moments there.
Right. There's also Uncharted did some cool things with Indian mythology, especially in Lost Legacy.
True.
Interesting to explore more Asian, Southeastern Asian mythology that isn't that Asian mythology that isn't Japan. Because as far as the West really loves, you know, Japanese mythos and Japanese culture, arguably fetishizes it in many ways. But
yeah,
it'd be nice to see stray away a little from that. I'm not trying to hate on it. It's just more of a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. I think like if I had my pick, like especially like hearing the references, like I think like I would go with like Celtic. Like I love like Celtic mythology. And I don't know if you guys have read The Iron Druid by Kevin Hearn.
I've heard of that, but I haven't read it.
So good. It's the concept of the world, like not giving too much for the story, but like the world itself is that all of the gods are real and they're basically held alive by like humans' beliefs in them at one point. So it's about this guy that's like a druid from Ireland and he's like been living forever. And he like basically goes around, he meets like there's multiple versions of Jesus. There's like multiple versions of Thor. There's like the movie Thor and then like the mythological Thor.
Oh, well,
it's so good.
Valhalla had a DLC called Wrath of the Druids.
Mm-hmm.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Maybe that was in reference to Celtic mythology then? Are druids intrinsically a Celtic entity?
From what I understand, they're mostly like Celtic, but I would have to like actually Google it to be able to answer for 100% certainty.
That'd be cool.
I think there's like a bit of bleed over between Celtic and Norse, right? I might be
No,
there is
no culture on Earth, no piece of history exists in a vacuum, so that's very possible.
Yeah, so there is kind of like a little bit of bleed where they have like similar people. But I don't know, for me personally, like I just have always like as a kid, that was always the mythology that I was like looking into. It was Greek and Greek and Celtic were the two that I was always looking at. So
awesome. So for me, I think one thing I want to be added to the game is access to some of the other realms from the first game that weren't accessible in the travel room, specifically Asgard. I really want to visit Asgard. And for those listeners and viewers who don't know, Asgard is Olympus is to Greek mythology as kind of Asgard is to Norse mythology, in that it's the big location where Thor, his father, Loki, the other huge gods live and thrive. And it's this big, fancy, again, I think of it almost like a Nordic version of Olympus in that sense. But I would really love to see Kratos just travel to Asgard onto Thor's front door and Odin's front door and just be like, what's up? I'd really love to see also with the environments, buildings, architecture, the kind of stuff Sony Santa Monica would be able to do with a backdrop like that, I think would be insane. And yeah, one thing that I think I'd like to get left behind from God of War 2018 would be Niflheim, any of this fog shit. I think of finding this treasure past all these different waves. I would like to see that be thrown out a window and never return. I think, at least on this panel, I'm in the minority when I say that, but those are my thoughts.
I just think it was like a fun little addition, like that wasn't like, I don't know, it was just extra.
I think what might have convinced you more, Taylor, and I think that a lot of people were speculating this immediately when the game came out. I remember seeing it on Reddit a lot. Was as people were working towards unlocking all the portals, in that mist, people thought that the last one that you unlocked was going to bring a Cyclops in from the original trilogy. Having something like that, where obviously
I didn't have
it's
that
a
expectation at
transdimensional
all.
thing.
I just didn't like the gameplay loop.
Fair. I think if we do go back to those realms and the others that we didn't visit, which I would be pretty confident saying that we will visit those that we haven't yet. I think those that we have, we probably won't be doing the same things that we did in 2018. I would imagine that they will switch it up so that in Niflheim or Muspelheim or something, we aren't just, rogue-liking it or combat challenging it. I think there will be spins on those realms to keep it fresh.
I think it'd be cool to go revisit all of the different locations. Maybe not all of them, but I would really be interested in the way that Ragnarok is affecting the different
right. And Ragnarok
places and
itself,
being
right?
able
It's
to
the end of the
revisit.
world. How is it going to wear down and destroy the locations that were once maybe so lush in 2018 that are now receding in? What if we go back to the world Serpent and all the waters receded and the Serpent is just lying there nearly dead or something? Like things that are that shocking. I think they could.
I thought you were going to say naked, honestly. He's just lying there naked.
That is effectively naked, right? If it's not covered by water.
Yeah.
Don't put that image in my head. Oh,
it's a great character, though. I still love Jorgumandr.
Yeah.
Jorgumandr, I think is how it's spelled, with 2 dots over either the U or the O. But that character, I want to see more of them too, though.
Also,
that first moment was so scary. I was terrified. I was like, "Am I gonna have to fight this?"
What's Sam?
Similar to. I mean, again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but similar to Fenrir the Wolf, there are very interesting implications with Jormungandr, the World Serpent, in terms of connections.
That pronunciation. Jorgumandr.
To characters that we have met, to characters that we haven't met yet, to characters that I don't know if we are going to meet. I think for people that aren't in the know about the links, because I do, and I can kind of preempt these things happening if they do happen, which I'm sure they will. But for people in the dark, I encourage you to not research it, because I think that some of the plot points in Ragnarok might be spoiled if you look too deep into Norse mythology.
I don't know any of this, and I really don't want to know before I play the game.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the trailer or anything that they released, just because I'm just trying to go in as blind as possible.
Oh, I saw the trailer. There is one thing. Atreus' voice got a little deeper, Brie. Sorry. He's not talking like this anymore.
It's going to be teen instead of boy. I think that's going to be the change. No, he's going to be calling him Atreus, right? Or Loki, I guess.
Boy. You might still call him boy.
Maybe.
It's like son, effectively.
Yeah, true. Endearing boy as opposed to aggressive boy.
I felt like it was kind of endearing, but
yeah,
it kind of just grew on me, I guess.
Yeah, it's great. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, everyone. And I think this will conclude episode 2 of No Limits PlayStation Podcast. You can find us at YouTube at Save the Game Media, as well as our Discord. Please come and chat. That's where you can talk to all of us as hosts and other members of the community, and stay up to date on all things happening around Save the Game Media, around our podcast network. Links are in the description for that. Also, we have our Twitter at Save Game Media, not Save the Game Media, but Save Game Media, 3 words. And also check out our Patreon, Save the Game Media, patreon.com/Save the Game Media. And where can people find you, Bree and Sam?
So I'm at Fabulist Brianna, and it's BREANNA.
And people can find me on Twitter at Sam Heaney. That's HEANEY.
Awesome. And I'm not on Twitter because I don't like Twitter. And Twitter doesn't like this show because they butchered our Twitter handle. That's okay. But you can find me around the Discord. I'm hyperactive there to probably a fault. And yeah, until next time, thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.